Hi, guys. It is Charmaine. Welcome back to the Broken Beauty channel. I am Charmaine, your Beauty Out of Brokenness coach, and this is the Beauty Out of Brokenness channel. This is my first time being back then for 2024. It has been a journey. Can I just tell y'all that? Um, but I do want to say Happy New Year. Welcome everybody back for the new year. So we're gonna say yay. As y'all see, I do have my funky little what is this? Green screen. I normally have everything up and together, but because this year has brought a lot of blessings, I won't complain. Um, I am in the middle of a move, so it has required me to literally go back to doing this little green screen until I get everything up and moving, get things just going. You know what I mean? So, y'all charge it to my head, charge it to my heart, not to my head. Bear with me one moment. I'm trying to get a few things set up over here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, just trying to get a few things. I was going to start out this my first live stream on a different topic. However, because I had a lot of people asking me about a topic I had covered on one of the videos that I was testing, actually, I was doing a challenge. And the question for that challenge that I answered has come up with some of my other clients. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and go back and answer this question. Um, Now, basically, the question that has been asked is from a few of my people that I work with was what does it mean to what does being real or the real you really mean? Um, and so the reason why I say it goes back to one of the questions I answered before, which was in a challenge that I did here on YouTube last year. It was like right at the end of the year, I started doing a few live streams. But one of the questions in that challenge was, what does it mean to show up and be authentically you? Which is kind of the same question that a few people that I was working with were asking. What does that mean? Um, so I said, you know what? Even though this isn't the topic that I wanted to start with, it's the topic that God wanted me to respond to at this time. So to show up and be authentically you means just showing up as yourself and not caring one iota of what other people are going to say about it, how other people are going to feel about it, um, or how other people think, what other people think. It's really you coming in as your full self. Um, and I believe I said that in the previous video, but I do definitely want to step into it more because there are some people who they really, because they have been showing up as their avatar for so long, they don't know what it means to actually come in and show up as their self. They they don't know what that really means. So in my profession, the profession I work in, We learn a lot about different traits and different modalities that we as humans tend to pick up as from birth all throughout life. And a lot of that has, once we pick up these modalities, it really shapes and forms how we go through life. So it kind of, for the majority of people, it does stunt us in our growth of showing up as being our true and authentic self. So that is really what I wanted to touch on is what does that mean? What does that mean to be authentic altogether? What does it mean to really, you want to really stop and think, what does it mean to be me? What does it mean to be you? How does that look when you actually show up as yourself? So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. And I'm going to hit it from all aspects because I am a forgiveness coach, which is also, I'm a faith based forgiveness coach as well as a faith based personal development coach. So anything, if you come to this channel, yes, I'm going to give you the modern touch, but I'm also going to give it to you from a biblical aspect because had it not been for the man that sits up high and looks down low, I can't tell you where I would be. Um, so we are going to dive into this a little bit more. I am going to dive into it from the dictionary aspect first. So when you think about showing up as the real you or as your authentic self, when we look at it from a dictionary perspective, the dictionary perspective basically tells us that when we actually show up as our true self, we are, it is having an origin supported by unquestionable evidence being verified. So, showing up authentically, the first definition says there is no question that you are who you are because it has already been verified. You The second definition goes further to say that you are actually representing your true self, your true nature or beliefs, true to oneself or true to the person identified. Now, when we look at that and we wrap all that up together to give us a short definition, it's not false or copied, genuine. So when you show up authentically, when you decide, okay, I'm going to show up as my authentic self, what we are saying is, I am going to come in with all that I am, all that I believe, all that is true and real to me. It doesn't mean that it has to be real to everybody else, but what is real to you, you are going to show up in that frame, in that body, because that is the real and true you. So, an example of that right now would be me. I'm showing up as my true, authentic self. I can honestly say that back in the day, there were days where, I mean, and I think we all have when we learn to, when we're coming up as young kids, we get around our friends and we're just figuring out, everybody's trying to figure out, okay, well, where do I fit? Where do I fit in? And so we all kind of merge together and we start taking different modalities and different traits from our friends. And we start kind of just like it's a melted pot of everybody pulling on everybody's personality. A lot of times you will see it with kids as we did when we were growing up. There will a lot of times be one dominant person whose personality really stands out, and then everybody tends to pull from that person's personality. But if you're like me, you begin to pull and it's like it just doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? It's something, or it may feel right for the time, but as you get older, you start to get uncomfortable. And this is what sometimes causes people to pull away because it's like, this is who I that be. Was I showing up in a true authentic form? So for instance, I have a few friends where we would all go out, we would all um go to the mall. I don't know if you guys used to do that back in your day, but in our day, it was mall, the movies, the roller rink. And we would all try and show up. Everybody's trying to get cute and get pretty and this, that, and the third. And of course, you may have always had the one friend, one or two friends who were who people tend to gear to more because they seem to think that they were a little bit more attractive. And of course, we would all have our own modalities, but we'd all want to try and pull from that person. We kind of take on their identity. What I found was I couldn't do that. I tried it for a few minutes, but it did not work for me. And I guess this is how I kind of became the friend that just I was in the crowd, but I really wasn't in the crowd. I always kind of felt like I was with the crowd, but I was alone because I really didn't feel like I ever fit in because of the fact that when you are that age, you know what the boys are looking for. You know it's not you. And sometimes it kind of makes you feel like the third wheel. So I had no choice but to show up as me. And who was the true Charmaine? Who was the true person that showed up? It was the shy girl, the girl that never really said a lot. Um, but I was a very good observer. I was a very good person of discernment because I hung around a lot of elderly people, my grandmother, my mom, and I always getting pulled to church, which is, thank God. This is why my love for God is just so grave and so big. But I learned to show up as my authentic self. However, throughout life, what I also learned is that showing up as my self sometimes caused pain because it's been only journey sometimes because depending on how people are looking at you, you're not always going to get the looks and you're not always going to get invited because at that age, people look for certain things. And the sad part about all this is even though I'm grown and older now, it is still a thing, and this is sad. It is, but it is still true that if a person or if people tend to find somebody more attractive than, say, me or someone else, society still gears towards the more attractive person versus the person that I consider myself cute, fine, and all that in a bag of chips. But somebody else does not consider that. And this is why I do the job that I do, because it took a lot for me to understand that it wasn't me, that um, there was nothing wrong with me for the reason that society was rejecting me. It was society's own biases and how they chose to pick and choose people in society. But then you learn to, you have to learn to walk. I learned with the help of my father, and of course my mother, to just be that true, authentic person that I could be. I learned to be, just show up, and I became okay with being shy. I became okay with being the person that sat in the room, whether we were going to the mall, we were going to a friend's house, a birthday party. I showed up. I was shy. I didn't say much. But what you're not going to do is talk sideways to me. I still had my way about me where I was not going to let you just talk crazy to me, but I showed up as the shy, observant, sweet, humble person that I am. Um, and I do remember one time being, I don't remember where we were at, but me and my friends, it was me and my friends, I think we had drove to Arizona. We drove to Arizona. One of my friends, her boyfriend was in Arizona. We drove out there to visit him. And his her boyfriend's friends, we went to one of their house parties because she's out here, she's hanging out with him. And of course, we back in our day, we were the type of friends where I'm going out here, I'm gonna go visit him. Will you come with me? Yes, girl, we're gonna go with you because she didn't know anybody. She didn't want to go out there, we don't know these people. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're about. So we went out there with her to keep her company. And the boyfriend, he had a few friends. We went to their house and we were sitting there. Everybody was drinking. Everybody was drinking but me. And one of the boyfriend's friends was looking at me and he was like, "You don't drink?" And I said, "No." And he was like, "You don't feel out of place not drinking? Everybody's drinking." And I said, "No. Do you feel out of place because I'm not drinking?" And everybody started laughing. And he was like, "Well, no, but I mean, that's just weird." And I was like, "Well, that may be weird to you, but that's my preference. I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. Not to mention, I'm the designated driver and I'm in a state that I don't know the laws to." And he was like, "So you won't even take a sip?" I said, "Absolutely not." And he was like, "That's just weird to me." I said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, I don't know what to tell you about you feeling uncomfortable that I'm not drinking and you and everybody else in this room is." And it became uncomfortable to him, but his friends were like, "Why are you pressing her on not drinking? That doesn't even make sense. Let it go." So me showing up, uh, being my authentic self really caused some drama at times because people couldn't understand how do you go through life and you hang out with people that drink, but you're just not a drinker. Well, that's just me. That is an option that I have chose, and this is how I have chose to present myself to the world. Now, I have nothing against people who drink. Majority of my friends drunk are were drinkers. You know what I mean? I was just the designated driver. I was the one that I wanted to make sure everybody got home safe. I wanted to make sure that I woke up the next day and seen my friends, whether they in bed with a hangover or we sitting in church the next day. I was that person that they always knew, well, if I go out and I get too drunk, I can call Shemaine. She doesn't drink. Or we can just hop in the car with Shemaine. She'll take us home, and then we can have somebody bring us back to get our cars the next day. That was me. That I'm that type of friend. And for some people, okay, your light irritates their demons, because my light was truly irritating this guy's demon because I wasn't drinking. And for him, he just could not understand that. I want to say he sat here and went around with me for at least three, well, not even three, almost 2.5 hours. And it wasn't, at first, it was a constant for almost 45 minutes. And then we got up, we started walking around. He was following me. And then he would come up to me every so often and be like, "You want, here's some water. I don't want water from you." Okay. I was very well versed by my parents. You don't take nothing from anybody if you didn't see them pour it or if you didn't pour it yourself. Okay. This is a message and a word for all the young people, anybody out there. I don't condone drinking, but I know some of us that that's what you prefer to do. But can I just pass on a word of advice to you? If you didn't pour the drink, don't drink it. If you didn't see who poured the drink or you didn't see where the drink come from, don't drink it. If you get the drink, you have the drink, you sit the drink down and you go dance and you come back, the drink is throw it out and get you a new one. Or drink it all before you get up and go dance. Because I can't tell you how many people I know personally, at least three, who either had a drunk drink poured for them, they went and got the drink, they drank a little bit, went and danced, and then came back and drank their drink, or somebody gave them a drink and they drank this drink and they have never been the same since. So that's just a side note, because I care about everybody. And like I said, my preference isn't, but I don't judge those who do. I do my best to walk in the purpose that God has put before me. And when they are ready, they will come to God. And hopefully, the God in me will shine enough for them to say, well, you know what? Even though I'm not ready yet, I know I have a friend who is going to help me get there. So I feel like that's my purpose. But to be authentic is to just come out and do what I'm doing right now and just say, just be you. This is what I'm doing. I'm being me. I'm being true. I'm being real. I don't even know, that story just popped up as I was talking about this. But to be authentically you is to show up and not care about anything that anybody has to say. Um, and we read it from the biblical term or from the dictionary term. When we look at it from a biblical term, when we are showing up authentically us, we want to be sure that The person we represent to the world is us. Because again, there have been people who have shown up, or as I said, kind of merged with others, and they've kind of taken on other people's personalities. I know people like that too. I know somebody who every time she makes a new friend, this particular person will get with this new friend, and literally it's almost as if they take on this person's personality. I actually know two people like that. They actually take on this person's whole persona until they have a falling out. And then we go back to one of our other friends, and now we're taking on that person's persona. And so what that shows is that person really hasn't sat with themselves long enough to really and truly know who they are. Because when you can show up and be your real, authentic, true self, you show up to the world as you, and you don't care what people have to say about it. You don't care who is looking at you. Okay? You're not afraid. Now, it's not that you don't care who's looking at you. You're just not afraid to speak or say what is in your heart. You're not afraid to come on here every so often with your wig off, with your makeup off, which I have done on my other channel. I haven't done it on the Beauty of the Brokenness channel yet because this is a pretty new channel. But you want to always make sure that you show up in that true, authentic vessel that God has purposed you to be. Because even God said in Luke that he would prefer us to really show up as ourselves because eventually the what do they call it? There is a word. I say avatar, but there is another word. Um, my God, I can't think of what the word is. And I've been thinking it all day, but I can't think of it. Not perpetrator. What is the word? Oh my goodness, now it's gonna be on my mind all day. But when we show up, um, or if we don't show up as our true selves and we continue to show up and try and mimic and do what other people do, eventually we are going to have a crash and burn moment where we will be forced to take off the mask, to take off that perpetrator suit and present the true us to the world. And here's the thing, it's in the Bible. In Luke 12, verse 2, it says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." So even in Luke, God was speaking to us in the book of Luke and letting us know you can't cover things up. Show up as your true, authentic self, okay? For there is nothing that will be covered up that shall not be revealed. Anything you cover up. So when you show up representative, that's the word. When you show up as your representative, seeing a lot of people use the word representative when people go on dates, but We don't just show up as a representative when we go on dates. Some people show up as a representative in real life because that's the only way they've ever known how to show up. So when you show up as the representative in life, eventually you are going to get to a point to where the representative is going to fall back and that true person is going to have to show through. Whether your true self is somebody who is, you don't have a lot of manners, but you have some manners, or you're shy like me, you're an introvert like me, and you just sit in the background, you observe. Regardless of what your true authentic self looks like, show up as that person because it will be easier for people to get to know you as that person and be able to work with you. It makes you more authentic. It makes you more believable. It makes you more trustworthy. It makes people like you more. In the movie, what is it? Best Man. Best Man. What is his name? I can't think of the friend's name. There was a friend. Terrence Howard is the actor that plays this friend. Everybody, all the friends, could not stand Terrence Howard's character in this movie because he showed up as his true, authentic self. He wasn't like all the others. He wasn't going to tell you what you wanted to hear. He wasn't going to sugarcoat it. He was just the type of friend that I'm just going to be real with you. That's ugly. I'm going to be real with you. She was sleeping with your man. Terrence Howard he was one of those friends that you love to hate because it was kind of like we want him at the party, but he gonna say something and then people are gonna be fighting. And even though it may be true, we don't need him saying that right here, right now. However, because he was who he was, they accepted him. And I want to say they even accepted him probably more than all the other friends because he was the truest out of all the friends in the group. He was cutthroat. He was like, okay. And there were some things where he would say it. It was like there was a part in the movie, I want to say it was right at the beginning of the movie, where they were talking about the book that I can't think of their names, but they were talking about the book that one of the friends had wrote. And this book, the friend has used all of his actual friends, everybody's sitting at the table, all the men, and even their female friends, which some of them were married to at this point, they were talking. He had used all these people in his book as characters. Terrence Howard, now the book, actually, let me go back. So the book had just got wrote, it had not released yet. One of the female friends, who is Nia Long's character, somehow got a hold of the book and she was able to read the book and do, I think she did a news broadcast or something happened where somehow the book ended up in Terrence Howard's hands. He read the book, okay? He has read this book and but he starts putting faces to the characters, the real life faces of all the friends in the group to the characters. So when they go to this game where they have their men's night and they're playing and we're all at the table, we playing cards. I don't remember if it was cards or dominoes, but they were playing something. They were talking about the book. Now, the best man, who is played by, it's not Omar Epps. think of his name. But Morris Chestnut is the bridegroom. He's the one getting married. Um, but I can't think of the best man. His name is at the tip of my head too. But anyway, the best man is the one who has written the book. They're playing the card. I don't remember if it was a game of truth or dare or if they were just talking while they were playing cards, but somehow a certain part of this book begins to get discussed by Terrence Howard's character, where it's like they're talking about the bride and Morris Chestnut is like, "Oh, well, I can trust her, and I know I'm the only man she's ever been with, and this, that, and the third." And then Terrence Howard is sitting across the table from him, and he's like, "You really believe you're the only man she's ever been with?" And now at this point, you can feel the tension building in the room because now Morris Chestnut is looking at him like, "What are you talking about? Right? What are you trying to say? I know I am the only man she has ever been with." And then he says some outrageous stuff. And Terrence Howard was like, "So you gonna sit here and tell me you really believe that you are the only man that this girl has ever been with?" Now, at this point, the best man is looking at Terrence Howard like, "Oh shoot, this fool got a hold of the book." And he starts to intercept because now Morris Chestnut is getting upset and he's ready to whoop his tail. He literally, if I'm not mistaken, he reaches over the table and pulls him up by his collar. He's like, "What if you got something to say? Say it." The best man then gets up and he's like, "He's just playing. He's just playing," or whatever he says. But these are the type this is what I'm talking about when I say authentic, no matter what. Terrence Howard showed up as that friend. God, you caught me. God said, don't say it. He showed up as that friend that you really don't want to, you don't want, you don't want him there. Why do I want you here? Why are you here? You know what I mean? So Terrence Howard was that friend that even though he was very truthful, he had no coup. He had no type of decorum in how he spoke the truth. It just came out. Because for him, it was like, I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm just going to say what I say, and you're going to take it the way you take it. But the truth is the truth. So, yes, it made him look like a butt. However, you come to see that the guys in the group, even though they knew he was the butt of the group, we can trust him to tell us the truth because if he is nothing else, he's going to be who he is no matter what. And that's that. And really, I would say that is if you want to get an idea of what an authentic person looks like, that would be the character to look at. Now, could you say that he was being messy? Yes, but he was being messy in a truthful way. Um, So to show up in our true authentic self, as it says in the book of Luke, okay? God put it out there for us, and he just says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." And you kind of, I mean, really looking at just that part of the movie, you really begin, you see this verse come into play. God further goes on in Luke, or Luke further goes on to say in his book that um, he further goes on to say, "Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and which ye have spoken in the ears in the closets shall be proclaimed up on the housetops." So, what is that saying? That's saying you don't have to show up as to be your authentic self right now, but just know it's going to eventually come out who you really are. It may not come out today, it may not come out tomorrow, it may not come out next year, but eventually God is going to set it up to where people know and understand who that true, authentic you is. But the question becomes, do you even know who you are? Right? So, showing up as your true, authentic self is coming in as you, regardless of whether you feel people are going to like what you have to say or not, regardless of whether people look at you like Terrence Howard's character, like, oh my God, he's going to do something, he's going to say something. Well, regardless of what he does or says, it's true. Those are the type of people you want on your team. You want somebody who is going to be real and true. They don't have to have the same type of attitude as him, because you do have the friends who show up. They're not as harsh. They may be like myself, a little bit more introverted. Of course, someone like myself, we gonna come and we gonna try and finesse how we present what the bad news to you. But eventually, if you're not getting what we're trying to say, we're just gonna have to come out and say, that's not the way to do this. I done told you, I done tried to be nice, but you ain't listening. So let me come at you fast, hard, and in a hurry, because this is gonna hurt. That is what showing up as your true, authentic self is. You have to be willing sometimes to be okay with hurting other people's feelings. I actually, and I'm still learning a lot from my mentor, but my mentor, she is like, wow. When I tell y'all, this woman is just amazing in the stuff that she has taught me. But she told me that when in one of our sessions, when we were doing a mentorship session, and she said, Charmaine, you're gonna have to get okay with telling people stuff, and then just be okay with them being upset about it. Be okay with them looking at you and being mad, because that's what's gonna happen. You can't please everybody. That's not your job. Your job is to be true to who you are. You be the best you that God has purposed you to be. To thine own self be true. That's all a lot of people want. If you can be true to yourself, then you will be able to show up to the world, and the world will appreciate and love you a lot more for that. So I want you guys to just let that sink in. Because like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on now. I think they're trying to shut me up. Not today, say. Um, but as I said at the beginning of this broadcast, when we are younger, it's more of us trying to figure out who are we? We're trying to fit in. We You see those people who they take on the personalities of whoever it is that they're with at the time. And some of them will eventually break away and find themselves. The others will eventually latch on to somebody else. And I do teach about this in my coaching sessions because I'm a personal development and a forgiveness coach. So these are things I speak about. But I speak about this, I show people how to really get in touch with who they are, right? Because until you can really get in touch with you, you are just going to be passing through life, living through the eyes of other people, and not really enjoying or figuring out what makes you happy, what brings you joy. So to show up as your true authentic self is to say, I have peace in knowing that this is who I am. I can bring joy to myself if I have to. People love me regardless because they know I am going to be true to myself. So I challenge you today, right at this moment, to just really sit. If you haven't really felt like you're showing up as your true authentic self, sit and think about, what is it that I really want? Are the people that I'm surrounding myself with, are these people the people that I can really and truly call friends? Are these people the people that I can really depend on? Who am I? What do I want? What is my true need? If I didn't have any of these people around me, who would I be? What would I do? What would I do to keep my time occupied? Where would I find my joy at if I was on a deserted island by myself? I challenge you to find that authentic you that is within you. I challenge you to go within yourself and really say, who am I? Who is the true, authentic me that God is purposing me to be? Leave a comment below. I'm Charmaine. I was not planning on being on here for almost an hour, but you know what? God's timing. I am on God's time, and that's okay. But I challenge y'all, take some time and just sit and think about that. Okay? And again, I am Charmaine. I would like for y'all to hit the subscribe button, um, because I'm still, like I said, I'm moving. I am going to start doing more live. I will start posting up my other videos. I'm thinking Sunday is still going to be the day that my videos go up. Probably going to do 2 days of posting videos and then maybe 1 day of streaming. I don't know. Or it may be vice versa. We'll see. Right now, it's just I'm working on it as I go because as of right now, I am still moving. So there is no set schedule for me, but I am showing up. I do want you guys to definitely I have a few things coming out that I would love for y'all to get on the bandwagon with. So definitely connect with me in the link below because I got a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of stuff for that has just been God has been so good and a lot of things I want to share with you guys. I got classes coming up. Um, I have a project that is about to get done that I can't wait to release to y'all within the next few weeks. So I just need you guys to on, get in the beauty room so you know what's going on and you will be the first person to hear about it and just stay connected with me so you can hear about the stuff that is going on. Um, Subscribe, continue to get information about personal development and forgiveness from your Beauty Out of Brokenness coach. I pray, my hope today is that this message has reached just one person who was trying to figure out how do I show up? What does it look like to show up and be really authentic? Because again, this was a question that came up from one of my actual people that I work with. And actually, not one, but three of the people that I work with, because they basically said, we may be overthinking it. I may be overthinking this, but what does it really mean to just show up and be real? What is that? What does that look like? And for some people may be out here like, well, what do you mean? You know what? We're not paying attention to them because some people do. We, we get stuck in our head. I am that person. I get stuck in my head. I start to overthink things. We analyze. We are analyzers. And that's what we do. And sometimes we get stuck on stuff. So I did my best in trying to show you what it looks like to show up as a true and authentic person. I would definitely love to hear your comments, your thoughts on things that I have said tonight. Click the subscribe button and definitely go to the link in the bio. Get on, get in the beauty room so you can hear and know when I go live, when I am releasing things, when I am having events, when I'm having special speakers, because I have a lot planned for this year, you guys. And especially on this channel, the Beauty Out of Brokenness channel. And again, I'm sure I'm probably lagging um, because of my green screen, but that's okay. We're going to keep it pushing, keep it moving. Hopefully, within the next few weeks, I will be set up at my new house and we'll have everything up and ready to go there. This place that I'm in now will now become mainly my business room. So I'll either be at my house or I'll be here. So I will still have this room. It's just everything had to come out because I had a lot of stuff. We had to separate things, get things pulled out. We're just revamping everything here. So y'all pray for me. Just pray for me and my family. Um, and I'm going to continue to pray for you guys. I thank you for all those who show up. Click the subscribe button. I love y'all. And as always, remember as you go on this journey of just asking yourself, get a pad, get a pen, get a paper, and just really sit and deep dive and ask yourself, who is the real me? Who is the authentic me? What do I like doing? If I am on a beach by myself and nobody else is there, what would I do to keep myself happy and in tune without everybody else's input, without anybody else being there? Find the true, authentic you and then begin to walk in that person because that is you. That is who God destined you to be. So I'm Charmaine, your Beauty Out of Brokenness coach. I am sitting right here in the stands cheering you on. God is at the finish line waiting to love and congratulate on you. I love you, and I will talk to you guys soon. God bless.